Good morning, everybody, and welcome back into another episode of the LEGO Legend of Zelda Custom Set Showcase Wave 3, where today we'll be taking a look at Z0042 and Z0043 with 127 and 105 pieces respectively. And you know it, you guessed it, and you remember back from Wave 2 where we did the other two. We're looking at Rudania and Ruta microfighters. And as I mentioned, these are follow-ups to my Wave 2 Custom Set Showcase, linked in the top right-hand corner, where we did naboris and medoh, and we'll be seeing all four of these guys together later today. So I recommend you go back and see those videos if you enjoy this one. But first up, with Z0042, the Rudania microfighter for ages 8 and up, with 127 pieces retailing for £9.99 and one minifigure. This is supposed to represent the Star Wars microfighter style of build, and you can see our lovely purple box art over on the left with our Daruk minifigure, who is a really interesting one, as well as the build for Rudania. And then we have Z0043, the Ruta microfighter, with ages 8 and up, with 105 pieces for $9.99, and with one minifigure being Mifa with her light scale trident and her Ruta microfighter build. So together we have one shared description. The new collectible Divine Beasts are here. In Series 2, collect Rudania and Ruta along with their respective pilots to join the fight against Calamity Ganon. Seat the pilot in the beast and watch them move into battle to help Link. And now, combined with Series 1 to have the full collection of all the Divine Beasts. And that is true, and we'll be taking a look at that later. First up, we're just going to focus on Rudania, and you can see here that box art up and close. But of course, to build the model, we have to look inside the box, and inside the box we have no numbered bags and one tiny instruction manual. Upon opening that instruction manual, we can see that, well, you build Rudania, there are no numbered bags, so this isn't that complicated. And here is Rudania built up. And you can see it here from a front-on angle and a side-on angle. You've got all the details such as the spine, the hammer tail, the four legs, the four little platform bits where you fight Fireblight even, and you've actually got a small seat in the middle where you can sit, or in this case stand, Daruk with the tailpiece folded back. And that is the point of these microfighters, is they're supposed to seat their champion in a way, meaning that there is no interior or no extra detail. We have to leave room for this seat. I particularly like the way the spine is built over on Rudania. If you notice up in the top right, you can see I've used the DC minifigure poser piece in recolored dark tan to create an angle for this spiny, spiky bits of where, of course, you find the fifth terminal. We're actually using minifigure blasters to make the legs, and there's some ball joints which lead down to some very simple feet. You can also see here we're using the 3x3 dish recolored in dark tan to represent those four pillars where the sentries come out of in the Rudania escort. And you can see also here the tail goes down to a point, and this is deliberately done on one of those looser ball joints at the top, so on the far left, which you can't really see, so the tail will actually waggle side to side very easily, which I think is a nice extra included feature. And here you can see a very dodgily chopped Rook into the fighter. And I think this looks quite pretty nice, actually, if you ignore the photo errors. And I think it looks just as good as the other three models. Before we move on to Ruta, let's take a quick look at Daruk here. Now, he's actually an interesting figure. He's using the same arms as that weird, large, oversized troll from the Troll World Tour line, and a new body headpiece, so it's all in one, very similar to that guy. What was his name? Biggie, maybe? And then you fit short minifigure legs up onto him, and that's the only normal minifigure part. It was the only way I could sensibly see them doing Daruk, because he's chunky for a Goron. Most other Gorons are somewhat close to humanoid, like my Darunia from Wave 1, where you can use a minifigure torso. But for this guy being more round than anything, I thought it best that we use the same piece, well, not the same piece, a custom decorated mold very similar to Hagrid or Biggie from the Trolls line. And then just some normal minifigure legs and normal hands, but obviously not normal arms. Yeah, it's a difficult one to explain, but let's move on. And moving on to Ruta, you can see our beautiful purple box art once again, and inside that box we have our one unnumbered bag and our small instruction manual, and upon opening that instruction manual you can see that the one bag builds Mifa and her Divine Beast. If you take a closer look up at Ruta, you can see some interesting part usage, such as that more bionically armed to represent a small little tail for Varuta. You can see that the feet are static and are built with a variety of textured elements. One of my favourite details, if you look down on the bottom right, is that we have the little platform where Sidon drops you off on either side built in, and I really like that. That's done by the 2x4 tile from Mario that has the rounded corners. You can also see the top of the legs are rounded off nicely into shoulders, and from the bottom right that there is a seat for Mifa to sit in. Up close on the face, you can see that we've built the ears using a variety of arched bricks and rounded slopes, as well as using the same technique as we did for Meadow to create the eyes using the 2x2 rounded tile with hole. And if we take a closer look at those legs, once again, you can see the way we've shaped them, rounded them, and also how the body came together, as well as those little platforms again. It's a shame that the legs can't fold over, but the structure on this one was a bit weird to do. From the trunk, we can see that it uses a ball joint into a slightly bigger arch and has another one of those rounded tiles on the end to represent where the terminal would be. And if we see Mifa inside those 2x6 dark tan tiles, so you can see she sits in there pretty nicely, just like all the other champions. To me, there's a lot less going on with Ruta than there is Rudania. However, these sets are mostly about getting the champion minifigures and having them look semi-decent and work together. And then that's going to be it for the two season two builds as far as our Divine Beast goes. But before we take a look at everything all together, and trust me, that is worth sticking around for, let's take a look at this slightly creepy mini Mifa minifigure. So just like the other three champions, she is wearing her champion sash. She also has a trident, the light scale trident to be precise, and she's also got a new headpiece for her Zora like fishy tail thing, and I'm hoping I'll be able to reuse this on just some common Zoras in some new colors at some point. She's also got normal legs with some printing, normal torso. She's got some printing on the arms as well, and a slightly disturbing face print. This one was done before I got rid of all the bug eyes. But here are our two Series 2 Divine Beasts together. We have Rudania and Varuta. Now, if anyone was wondering why I chose to pair these two together and why I chose to pair um, Naboris and Medoh together, and I think it just comes along down to which side of the map they're on. We wanted to go for the right side of the map and the left side of the map. I suppose a later incident that confirmed what I was doing would be the Age of Calamity story, where we have fire and water over here, and then we have thunder and wind, or whatever it is, on the other mission as well. So air and lightning, that's it. So it sort of divides nicely like that. Here we have all four Divine Beasts together, both from Series 1 of the Divine Beasts from Wave 2 and Series 2 of the Divine Beasts from Wave 3. We have Naboris on the left, Medoh up in the sky, Ruta, and then, not Naboris, Rudania. These names, they get me all over the place. And I would seriously recommend in going back and checking out the Varnaboris and Medoh builds from last wave. If we put them all together with their respective champions, I think it looks pretty cool. You can imagine these guys lined up on the shelf, which is exactly what I see with these guys. You'd probably want to put a pillar under Meadow, but I think they look really, really good on a shelf, especially with a champion in them. And here is another picture of them all facing the same direction as if they are on the front line. So this is sort of what I imagine a shelf looking at like. You've got your three on the floor and then Meadow in the air, and I think that's really, really cool. Here are all the boxes together, which also I really like the aesthetic of, but then by now you guys know I'm a sucker for my boxes. You can see those Series 1 and Series 2 from Wave 2 and 3 respectively, and I think it really helps that the purple and the red actually go fairly well together. And I would really love to have this collection lineup. Like if I got the boxes for these, I would keep these boxes. They look good. I actually really like them. And maybe that's something that will happen in the future. They're non-printed sets for the most part. All we're waiting for is more dark tan pieces to become available in these colours, and then what do you know, we'll actually be able to build these in real life, obviously, bar the figures. And here are our four champions together. I thought it was deserving that I show you all of these guys together. So on the left we have Daruk, Mifa, Urbosa, and then Revali. And they look great together, even in their slightly older style of my drawing. Particularly, I think Mifa looks probably the worst to me. I sort of like the way Daruk looks. But overall, they look brilliant together. Next up, I wanted to show the champions with their Blight Gannons from the Wave 2 Polybag, the Blight Gannon 4-in-1. So if you bought all four Divine Beasts and then 4 copies of the Blight's Polybag, you'd be able to have every Blight match up against their champion. So here we have Thunder Blight and Urbosa. Here we have Wind Blight and Revali. And yes, I have played around with the scale because Wind Blight is huge. Then we have Fire Blight and Daruk. and then we have Mifa and Waterblight as well. And then finally, I thought I would show you all 6 of our champions from Hyrule. So we have the 4 champions, and then Breath of the Wild, Link, and Zelda, all of which are minifigures available in sets. So if, like me, you'd be collecting every Zelda set when they came out, you would have an amazing minifigure collection by now. But that is going to do it for these last 2 Divine Beasts, making up 2 of our sets for Wave 3. And that is the end of the Divine Beast mini-series here on the channel. There are obviously no more to cover. I have a couple more plans for weird little series like this to put into the custom showcase in the future. However, I think they need a little bit more work before they come out to the public. So, that is going to do it for today, and let me know what you guys thought of these 2. I think these 2 are slightly weaker than the first 2, but that's just because out of all the Divine Beasts, Naboris and Medoh are going to be my favourite as well. So let me know what you guys thought of those down below. But before we leave today, it's time to think about Z0037 with 907 pieces coming next week. And this is another one that has been guessed quite a bit, and actually I really love this one. I think it invokes that same feeling that Great Sea Adventure did back in Wave 1, another amazing custom set if you want to check that out. And this is a Breath of the Wild set. So let me know your guesses down for that down below, as well as your thoughts on the other 2 champion vehicles and the champions as a group of 4. Personally, I think they look great together, and I'm really pleased with how the style continued. But let me know what you thought, and I'll see you next time. Subscribe. Bye.